Okay, you all got your instruments? Okay, now we really are going to start. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. Happy almost Thanksgiving.
We're a special, first special.
We're going to start with a couple of songs. I'm Sarah Benson. This is my husband, Doug. And I invite you to stand if that's comfortable. You're free to sit if it's not. And let's sing and make noise. Again, there's percussion instruments in back, and we're going to need them for pretty much everything today. So grab them.
That is tiny. It's very
Put the person next to you. They are recognized for God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Put the person next to you. Say, God love me and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life, every creed and motherhood, you kiss your queen life. In honor of the good in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together, we come together, we come together, in the name of love.
All right, but there's another song. That's what I'm my paper clip.
We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined joy together, together in joy. Joy, 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 joy together, together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace.
Woo! Good morning, yay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, where our vision is a world and loving partnership for the good of all. I'd like to welcome anyone visiting for the first time. Please be sure to get an information packet, a gift certificate to the bookstore is in there for you. And also, welcome to all those online over Zoom and those who watch us later on YouTube. This is a reminder that those hug-a-bears that you're hugging on are a unity project. So we're going to infuse them with love and then leave them in our seats when we go out of the sanctuary. And I also want to remind people that we are still collecting coats that we will put in the red barrel that's in the back there. And any coats or warm sweaters, it's getting cold. And we've already delivered one, thanks to Doug, and we'll fill it up again and deliver it again over to Community of Hope for the folks that are living in tents over there. And today is our potluck, our Thanksgiving potluck, and then we have our speaker today. Brian Kurtz is staying after to give us a workshop on transcending holiday stress. So please stick around, join us for food, and then join them in this workshop. And in 2 weeks, so 2 more weeks, we will be celebrating our center's birthday, and we will have another potluck, and we will have a service project where we'll be signing about 100 holiday cards that will be given out to folks around in Las Cruces' long-term care facilities and skilled nursing homes. So please stick around for that. Also, any additional decorating that we want to do, Janice is going to get the tree started, but any additional decorating that anyone feels like doing, we will do on that day. And at this time, please welcome our platform assistant, Beth Leary.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Beth. We met briefly. Anyway, some of us. I'm a platform assistant today. We believe in the power of prayer, what we call a spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. Please fill out the prayer request, which you can find in the which can be found in the back pockets in your chair backs. There's a box in the back where you can put your prayer request or drop it in the offering plate on the tables as you exit the sanctuary, or you can use our prayer request button on our website. Our prayer team, made up of practitioners and ministers from the 4 local New Thought communities, will pray with you in regard to your request. In addition, should you have something you would like a quick prayer treatment for after the service, there's practitioners wearing stoles, which is Judy and Bob. Sorry, Bob. We'll be glad to meet with you for a few minutes to get a quick treatment. It can change your whole week. It's wonderful. And if you have any gratitudes, which we all do at different times, and right now just to be standing up above ground, fill out a gratitude card for what you were grateful for. Now it is time for song, silence, and prayer.
We're just going to do a simple chant for song, silence, and prayer, so you guys can join me and with your instruments and with your voices.
God is my sword, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Joy is my strength, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my soul, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need.
Today I'm going to be reading from Creative Ideas, a Spiritual Compass. Thank you, Spirit God, within and through and all around us, for bringing us here today to hear the words of our wonderful speaker, and for the wonderful music and our wonderful souls that bring us all together in this expression and energy of love and grace. And so it is. Today I'm reading from the Creative Ideas, a Spiritual Compass for Personal Expression by Ernest Holmes. It's this wonderful little book. It has just short little things in it. You can read them every day. And it really can change your day and make you a much better day. Okay, today is from page 16 and 17. I accept the divine promise. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise. 2 Peter 3:9. The Bible is filled with divine promises, revealed through the spiritual intuition of great souls. We are promised long life and happiness, riches and abundance, health and success. More particularly, we are told that those promises are fulfilled right now, in the day in which we live. We need not wait, but only need to accept them now. This acceptance is a mental as well as a spiritual act. The mind needs to accept its highest hope in complete confidence, placing its entire its entire reliance on a power greater than itself. Today I accept with joy and gratitude the divine promises of riches, abundance, and success. I accept the enveloping presence that sustains me as now manifesting in my experience a greater supply of all those things which make living a greater joy. My increased good deprives no one, for God's good knows no limitation. I now know that as God's creativity flows in through me into complete expression, I experience a good beyond my tremendous imagination beyond my greatest dreams. I am given to even more abundantly than I ask. For the promises of God are as certain as life, as immutable as law, as personal as my heart beat, and so it is.
We're going to do Ricky Byers' song, My God Is So Good to Me. And we're about 20 voices short of a gospel choir, so you guys could join in with your voices and your instruments, that'd be great. Your part is, God is so good. My God is so good to me. That's it. You don't even have to sing it. You can stand, you can dance, you can sit, whatever you want to do. Okay. Oh, I got up in the morning singing, God is so good. I got up in the morning singing, God is so good. Oh, I got up in the morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me.
Feeling good down in my soul.
God is so good.
Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul.
God is so good. My God is so good to me. God is so good. In my time of trouble, I say, God is so good. In my time of trouble, I sing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. In my time of triumph, I know God is so good. In my time of triumph, I know God is so good. Oh, in my time of triumph, I know God is so good. My God is so good to me.
When the day is over, I'm singing
God is so good.
When the day is over, I'm singing
God is so good.
When the day is over, I'm singing
God is so good. Oh, my God is so good to me. Every day and every way I know God is so good. Every day and every way I say God is so good. Every day and every way I say God is so good. My God is so good to me. Oh, every day and every way I know God is so good. Every day and every way God is so good. Every day and every way God is so good. My God is so good to me. Oh, my God is so good to me. All right, thanks, Sean.
All right, on the road. There you go. Thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, like I said, this morning we have a very special speaker back with us for the second time, and he's promised he'll come back again and again. It's Brian Kurtz, who is a teacher and energy worker who calls in Spirit's power and love to heal physical, psychological, and emotional issues. Brian's divinely inspired method includes chakra and life history, energetic residue clearing, client-specific healing, and divinely inspired guidance sessions. Brian also works with children and pets, homes, and workspaces. His Real You conversation will support you in reaching your own soul and allowing that to guide you through life's greatest challenges with grace and ease. So he's here to speak to us today and also do a workshop for us after we have our meal. So please welcome Brian Kurtz.
Want to? Up to you. I'll do it.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. How many people know about the Adam and Eve story? How many people are fed up about the Adam and Eve story? How many people have heard the Adam and Eve story used by like the biggest guilt trip just because you're a human being? Yeah, so what today is all about is that. And the thing about the Adam and Eve story is it's been used as a total guilt trip, I think, to manipulate people. And there's always been this sense of, I'm not good enough. How many people have experienced I'm not good enough? Okay? So whoever wrote the Adam and Eve story, I think had a different message in mind, and that's what we're going to cover today, which is in stark contrast to the Adam and Eve story that we've all heard and what we're told that that means, which is they messed up, therefore we are messed up. Now, if you've been around CSL or New Thought congregations and such for a while, you know that all is oneness. We have divine in us. So this is my version of the Adam and Eve story in stark contrast to what we were told it meant. I'm hoping you find it more freedom-inducing as opposed to guilt-inducing. Okay? So you got Adam and you got Eve. This is the way the story goes for me. So God creates Adam, God creates Eve, and then says to Adam and Eve, hey, how you guys doing? I'm God, you're Adam, you're Eve, welcome to the Garden of Eden. This place I've made just for you. Everything you could ever want here is all yours. It's all yours. Well, except this one thing, this little tree back here. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what I want you to know is that everything here is perfect. I made it perfect. I made you perfect. It's all perfect, and it's just for you. The ground here is so soft, you don't even need a bed to lie down on. The weather here is so perfect, you don't even need to wear clothes. All I want you to do in this entire world that I've created just for you is to be fruitful and multiply. That's all I want you to do. Just be here, be fruitful, and multiply. Oh, and I'm going to give you body parts. You're going to love being fruitful and multiplying. You're going to have a great time. You're going to want to do it all day, and you'll populate the planet. How's that? And they're like, oh, okay, right? Now, there's this one catch. All of this is yours. It's all perfect. But there's a tree back there. See that tree? And there's a light that comes down and shines on the tree so they can, God makes sure that they see it. There's fruit on that tree. If you eat the fruit from that tree, you will have the knowledge of good and evil. I don't want you to eat the fruit from that tree. I do not want you to have the knowledge of good and evil. Just stay away from the tree, okay? Stay the hell away from the tree. Well, you know how the story goes, right? So they got this snake that comes up. It had to be a snake or something kind of creepy crawly because a little puppy coming up and giving the message wouldn't have done the job. And the snake comes up to Eve and says, hey, you ought to try some of the fruit from that tree. And somehow the snake convinces Eve to then convince Adam, and Adam has a bite of the fruit from the tree. And suddenly Adam has the knowledge of good and evil. And he gives some to Eve. And Eve has a bite, and next thing you know, Eve has the knowledge of good and evil. About that time, they both have the knowledge of good and evil, and they look at themselves, and they're not wearing any clothes. And they say, we're not wearing any clothes. Is that good or evil? Ooh, must be evil. We better cover ourselves, right? And then they realize, oh, wait a minute. God only gave us one rule. He gave us all of this, and He gave us one rule, and we already broke it. We must be evil. About that time, they realize, we're in big trouble. They run and they go hide behind a bush. About that time, God comes out because God sees everything because God's God and says, hey, Adam and Eve, how's the first 10 minutes in the garden going? And they're like, she did this, well, he did that, and we feel guilty, and we're cold, and we're not happy, and everything went to hell. Now, what's that really all about? Some people would say what that story means is Adam and Eve were inherently flawed. They were bound to eat the fruit from that tree. Therefore, because we are what they are, human, imperfect, that we're bad, we're wrong. Therefore, we must need a Redeemer. So Jesus came along a few thousand years later, or millions of years later, however long, to save the world. Well, consider the possibility that what the writers of that passage really were intending to tell you is to avoid the knowledge of good and evil. Well, what's that about? Well, we have a brain, okay? And the way our brain works is kind of like a hard drive in a computer, where it's got all these millions of little sectors that you drop bits of information into so that it can store it in that hard drive for later use. That's what your brain is. I mean, for the purpose of this conversation, your brain controls a lot of stuff, a lot of bodily functions and all, but what it's really all about for this conversation is your brain operates like a hard drive, and you drop thoughts and thoughts about the thoughts and thoughts about the thoughts about the thoughts and feelings, and everything that's ever happened to you is saved in here for later use. But the way the brain does that is by splitting everything apart and analyzing and categorizing and sorting everything so that it can save it for later. But in separating everything from everything else, it separates us from each other. It separates us from God. It separates good, evil, right, wrong, up, down, you, me, Democrat, Republican. Sorry, I had to say the Democrat, Republican. The point is, this thing separates everything. Okay? Let me ask you a question. Where's God? Everywhere. I heard in here, in you, in me, everywhere. Is there anywhere God's not? How many creations are there? One. One God, one creation, one power, oneness. Okay? This separates everything from everything else. But what reality really is oneness. But guess what? If this thing separates and analyzes and categorizes and divides, it can't know oneness. Your brain prevents us from knowing oneness. Our brain has to label and analyze and categorize everything compared to everything. It can't help itself. That's just the way it is. But I think the writers of the Bible, thousands of years ago, were trying to tell us, don't eat from the tree that has fruit that will give you the knowledge of good and evil. This, if running the show, has to separate everything into good, evil, right, wrong, up, down, you, me. This only knows oneness. This only knows connection. Scientifically, there's a whole lot of electromagnetic activity going on in your brain. There's a group called the Institute for Heart Math, MATH. It's done like 35 years worth of study, and they found out that the heart-gut neural network is actually 5,000 times more electromagnetically powerful than the brain. Now, when I heard that, I thought, yeah, right. So I called up one of my healing, I teach healing classes as well as doing the healing work that I do. So I called up one of my students who is a cardio stenographer. She's the lady who reads the tape off the EKG machine. And I thought, Tanya will know. So I called Tanya and say, Tanya, what's this about the heart-gut neural network being 5,000 times more powerful than Brian? Oh, of course, probably more than that. So really? She said, yeah, Brian, think about it. If you do an EEG machine that's going to measure the activity, electromagnetic activity of your brain, it's the same type of machine as an EKG machine that measures the electromagnetic activity of your heart. But if you tried to hook your heart up to an EEG machine, it would blow it up. If you take the EEG machine and hook it up, or if you hook the EEG machine up to your heart, it'd blow it up. If you take an EKG machine and hook it up to your brain, it might not even register. It's the same kind of thing, but it's measuring much greater electromagnetic energy through here. Now, having been in the consumer electronics business at one point, in the audio cable business, I found out that wire is not just wire. Because what happens is when current flows through a wire, it generates an electromagnetic field inside and around the wire. So I worked for a high-end audio cable company where a guy had figured out the physics around manipulating the electromagnetic fields so that there was less interference, so that there was actually more information going through the cable from component to component down the line. Well, guess what? You are an electromagnetic device. You have a nervous system and a brain and a heart and the heart-gut neural network, and it's all nervous system, it's all electromagnetic energy. Every atom that makes up your body contains electromagnetic energy. How many of you have heard me talk about the atom? A-T-O-M, not A-D-A-M. Okay, so I'll cover it again for those of you who don't know. Take an atom, okay? You've got all these little particles, the protons and neutrons in the middle, electrons orbiting around that. Well, most folks don't realize that that thing is not drawn to scale the way we saw it in 6th grade science class. I grew up in South Louisiana. It was probably high school science class by then. But the point is, if you were to actually magnify the atom to the point that the protons and neutrons in the middle were the size of a marble, you know, a little glass marble we played with as kids, the first orbiting electron around that marble would be 10 miles away from the marble. And these electrons are organized in groups by distance called shells, like a seashell. And the next shell of electrons after the one 10 miles away would be at the moon, 31 Earth diameters, 250,000 miles from the marble. Marble moon. Kind of mind-blowing, right? The next electron shell would be at Jupiter, which is farther away from us than we are from the sun. Marble Jupiter. I mean, we're talking literally astronomical distances. Now, before your brain goes completely fried on that, what I want you to consider is that there's electromagnetic energy holding those particles in place over these vast distances. In fact, there's so much electromagnetic energy in every atom that if we can harness that energy, we have atomic power. We could power a city with it. If we misuse it, we could take that same energy from an atom and make atomic weapons and blow that city up. But that's how much energy we're talking about in every single atom. Amazing amount of power. I would assert that God is the source energy of that energy. And if God is the source energy of that energy, and that energy is in the empty spaces between every subatomic particle, every atom is mostly God stuff. And if you are made of atoms, trillions of them, you are made of mostly God stuff. And if every atom is mostly empty space, and all of that empty space is mostly God stuff, you are quite literally divine spirit beings, occupying physical space. Now, what does that have to do with good, wrong, good, evil, right, wrong, up, down, you, me? Doesn't seem to have much of a correlation, really, does it? I mean, come on. If we are divine spirit beings, are we inherently flawed at our spiritual essence? No. So why would anyone want to tell us that stuff? Kind of makes you wonder. What I want you to notice is that when you are in touch with your divine essence, you can touch that divine part of you. It's always in there, right? Is it ever gone? So if you're not feeling that, what might be in the way? If you are a divine spirit being, and in this very moment you are not knowing like you know that the sun's going to come up in the morning, that you are a divine spirit being, something is in the way. I would assert that something is this thing. Right? Because it is always trying to analyze, sort, categorize, judge. Because what is judging? Judging is just discerning this from that. But it can also be right, wrong, up, down, you, me. And it could apply to anything. It could apply to me. I could say, What about me am I not quite happy with today? What's that about? That's a comparison between this and that. But that's what your brain does. It's a this and a that. You can't win if it's a this and a that. Because the brain is always going to compare. If you can notice that your brain is judging or comparing, anytime you can notice there's a comparison happening, a judgment happening, a valuation of something compared to something else, it's by definition brain. And I'm not saying don't use your brain. I needed my brain to know where to turn left and where to turn right and how far around to take the little roundabout here before I got here. I need my brain for that. But it's really kind of in the way of a lot of other stuff. Like, for example, okay, what color is this? Roughly. Okay. What color is Reverend Bonnie's dress? Purple. Is that the same color as this? No, but they're both purple. What I want you to notice is that there's all these little comparisons and contrasts that we just sort of automatically notice. But all of that is in the way of, it's a block between us and knowing what we really are. It's in the way. And it can be an internal thing, like I'm saying, judging me. Self-deprecation, self-judgment. Comparing where I am to where I would prefer to be. All of this, by the way, is chapter 5 in my book. This is a really cool book called Access the Real You. I've got some for sale in there, and I think the bookstore still got a couple of copies. But what the book is all about is touching what I call the real you, which is your essence. Well, gee, how do we do that? I'll tell you really quickly. I call this thing wiggles. Okay? This is your brain moving 1,000 miles an hour all day. Every thought and every thought about the thought and every thought about the thought about the thought. But you are not that. You're the noticer of that. This is the real you noticing your brain activity. Now, notice that this thing is moving 1,000 miles an hour. This thing is noticing that and is by definition in stillness, watching this not be still. How do you get to stillness? By noticing what's not still. Where is God?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Even beyond time and space, God is everywhere and everything, yes? If that is so, where does God have to go? Nowhere. God's already everywhere. If God is already everywhere in everything, God has nowhere to go. Therefore, God must be operating in stillness. How do we get to stillness? By noticing what's not still. It's really counterintuitive. But when we can notice that we can notice the stuff that's not still, we're in stillness, watching what's not still. Meditation. Beth led a wonderful, beautiful, held space for a wonderful meditation this morning. My brain is going 1,000 miles an hour thinking about how am I going to say what I'm going to say today? How's the workshop going to go? How's this going to go? How many people might be there? What am I going to do when I get back home to Albuquerque? Oh, it never stops. I'm ADD. It's not going to stop. But guess what? It doesn't have to stop. Because when I'm noticing my brain moving 1,000 miles an hour, I'm dropping myself right into stillness, which is where I wanted to be in the meditation. Anything can be a meditation. Someone was walking and said, I can't walk into the sanctuary yet, I got a cookie. Well, put your cookie in your mouth and guess what? You can turn eating the cookie into a meditation. Feeling it in your mouth, tasting the taste, sensing the sensations. Because I'm not saying deny your body. You have a body. Just don't let your body have you. But my back hurts. Okay, your back hurts. Guess what? That's a bodily sensation. That which can notice the brain chatter can notice a bodily sensation. Can notice the life going on around you. And that which is noticing your brain and your body and your life circumstances will, on the day you die, be noticing the body on the bed or the hospital bed or wherever your body chooses to stop, and the soul then transitions, right? But that which is noticing all of that now will be noticing all of that then. That is who and what you really are. You're the noticer of that. And how do we access that divine, sacred space of stillness and knowing and experiencing the oneness? By noticing what's not. And it's so easy to turn anything into that meditation. But this thing will continue to compare everything to everything else. Am I where I want to be yet? How's my bank account doing? Right? How about this person? Do I like that person? Does that person like me? How might that be occurring? And my brain goes off on that one. I've got a few extra pounds that I didn't have before. Actually, that I did have before and lost and then got it back, and now I'm trying to get rid of it again. I got a nose that's bent a little off to one side. I wish I had more hair. Okay? Everything that I can think about that is a comparison of something to something else is, by definition, brain chatter. And then how about if I externalize that stuff? How many people know the term projection? Okay? How many people have felt projected upon? Right? We all have. We've all been there. We've all felt that. Because in the connection of heart to heart, of namaste, that divinity that's in all of us connects us all, so we feel stuff. If someone's angry with us, we feel that. If we're angry at someone else, we feel it and they feel it. And we're swimming around in all of this stuff. It is what it is. But guess what? You are what you are. And the very fact that you can notice something about someone else that judges them with this is also connected to them with this. We can judge internally, we can judge externally. But ultimately, this is going to do what it's going to do, but thank God, you are not your brain, you're the noticer of it. Then it's about practical application of that. How many pieces of our life can we notice that we are attaching valuation to? And it could be anything, and it's not necessarily negative. I could be stabbing myself in the heart every time I think about something about me that I don't like. If I overcome that, I pat myself on the back. But guess what? This and this are the same thing. They're just flip sides of the same coin. They're both conditional. If you're operating from conditions, there's nothing left except, am I going to be happy about the conditions or am I going to be sad about the conditions? It's a no-win, ultimately. But when you can notice that that's what's occurring, that which is noticing immediately separates itself from what it's noticing. Because when you can notice your brain chatter, you're separating what I call the real you from the brain chatter and grounding yourself in this place of stillness, which is connected to the divine, with the divinity that you are, that you have in you, living in you all the time, that's always there, waiting for your awareness to focus there. Because it's not about awareness that you have. It's about the awareness that you are. When I look into your eyes, I can see you and feel you. And you can get seen. And we connect. Everyone talks namaste. The divine light in me is able to see the divine light in you. Everyone knows that one. What a lot of people don't think about is that if I'm not in tune, in touch with, connecting with the divine light in me, I can't see the divine light in you. Now I'm going to take it one step further that I've never heard anybody but me talk about. It's not like I'm special. It just popped into my head one day from wherever that comes from. If I'm tuned into my divine light, and I'm really grounded in the capital I can make EYE contact with you and awaken the divine light in you. Our job, in my opinion, is to connect with everybody. Because when we connect in that divine light place, all the stuff that this uses to generate division falls away. And we're connected. There are people who manipulate us into thinking that there are differences among us. That there are people from other countries that are different from us because they come from somewhere else. Different languages, different colors, different hair color, different amounts of hair on people's heads. All the differences that this can notice, don't begin to compare to the oneness that we can sense from here. When you hug someone and you really hug them, or someone really hugs you, doesn't it just like change your whole day? When you make eye contact from the eye, connection happens, and all this other stuff really can fade away. Practice that. Make eye contact. Notice how uncomfortable some people are going to be about you making eye contact. So then you just smile. And they go, oh, it's okay. Try that in New York sometime. It really messes people up. I've got a son in New York City. He said, don't look at people. I said, you, me? Don't look at people? And I said, what's wrong with you? I said, I don't know, man. Anything wrong with you? Hi. Oh, okay. And the guard goes down, even in New York City. When we can know that we know that we know that that which knows is beyond reasons and justifications and becauses generated by this thing, we are standing separate from it and above it. If you can't be here for the workshop, that's the message. Transcending holiday stress is not eliminating holiday stress. It's noticing that if you're stressing over something, what that is a comparison between what I would prefer it be and what it is. You can't change what is, but you can take a good long look at why you prefer that other thing that's not what is. And then you can do a little self-study around that and learn a little something. Then, no matter what is happening around the holidays, the you that's really you, what I call the real you, is that which notices that I've got a preference between what's so and what I prefer. And how much you care makes that gap bigger and bigger and bigger between where it is and where I prefer that it be. And the very fact that you can notice that completely takes the edge off of that. That doesn't mean your brain's not still going to be yelling and screaming about stuff. Dang, I burned the turkey! Is there anything worse than burning the turkey? Right? It's never a problem for me. I don't like turkey. Okay? But for a lot of people who spent hours getting that thing ready and brining it and seasoning it and stuffing it and doing all this stuff, and then it doesn't turn out right, man, big disappointment. The bigger the disappointment, the more the stress, the more the whatever that is always in direct proportion to how much you care. My brother and I had a big fight many years ago. We're fine now, but for about 10 years, I was angry at my brother. Until at one point I realized, wait a minute, what's underneath the anger is some sadness and some disappointment. And what's below that is caring. And what's below that is the love that we've always had for each other. If you can excavate down to the love that's underneath all of it, this other stuff just kind of fades. And if the brain still wants it to be there, fine, but you're not the brain, you're the noticer of it. Completely takes the edge off. So if you notice you are stressing over the holidays, notice that you can notice that you're stressing over the holidays. What are you stressing about? Pick out the item, whatever that is. Where is it versus what you prefer instead? I call it point A, point B. What's so and what I prefer instead. And the bigger the stress just means you care that much more. I'm not saying don't care. I'm saying care as much as you want. Love as much as you want. When it hurts, you can notice that it hurts because there's something I care about. When you feel pain, stop and notice. What is it that's the care? What is it that I love and I care about that's not happening? And don't judge anyone else and don't judge yourself, though this will want to do that. Just notice and allow and receive. Jesus gave a message, what was it? When the smart aleck came up to him in the square and said, okay, Rabbi, what's the number one commandment? And Jesus kind of turned everything around on him and he said, love God with all you got, which is one of the 2 prayers in the Jewish faith that's spoken at every service. That love God with all your heart, soul, strength, mind. That's the opening of one of the 2 prayers in every Jewish service. The other one is the Lord our God is one. Spoken in every Jewish service without exception. So Jesus opened with that just to let the guy know that he knew what he was talking about. He was, after all, a rabbi. But the second part is, love your neighbor as you love yourself. How many people find it easier to love their neighbor than love themselves? That's why Jesus made it the only commandment. Because it requires us to love ourselves, to love someone else. Now, why did he say it that way? Because you know that you know everything about you that you don't like. And if you can learn to love yourself with all of the stuff about you that this generates, that's in the way of you really loving yourself, when you can unconditionally love yourself, that doesn't take away your flaws. It doesn't take away the stuff that this is generating that judges. Right, wrong, up, down, you, me, good, bad. But it puts you into a place of forgiveness of yourself, of being able to love yourself as you are. And know that I'll continue to evolve and grow and learn and expand who I am and how I am. If you can stand in that place, then you got a shot at coming to know someone else with all of their stuff that maybe you don't like or don't agree with. Are they any less valid a human soul because you don't like their hair, politics, clothes, car? Right? How ridiculous does that even sound when you sit in that place of reality? So guess what your job now is? Make eye contact and make eye contact. If we can do more of that every day and just smile at somebody, life gets better. I used to do this thing where I would hug about 1,500 people in a day. I'd set up a little sign along this walking path when I lived in Austin, Texas. And there was this big, like a 6-mile path that everybody in town walked. And I put up a little booth there, a little chair with a sign that said, free hugs. And I would give anywhere from 500 to 1,500 hugs over about 6 hours, depending on which year I did. I always did it around the weekend of Valentine's Day. You'd be amazed what happens when you give somebody a hug, or even offer them a hug. You know, I'm offering a hug, and people are like, I don't know you. What kind of weirdo are you? Wanting to hug people. What kind of weirdo are you if you want to make eye contact? What any New Thought congregation is all about is knowing that you know that we are one. We are fellow human souls. It's always that way. If it doesn't feel that way, notice that that's where you are and take responsibility for that. Not to beat yourself up, but just to go, oh, I was standing right here. Now I'm going to stand right here. I was this way. Now I'm going to be this way. How long does that take? You can be down in the abyss of depression. And as soon as you remember, oh, I'm a divine human soul. Boop, you're out of the hole. The circumstances may still be there, but who you're being about it is now completely different. When you are in touch with your essence, it is eternal. It was here before you came into this place of awareness. It's going to be here when you're gone, when your physical body's gone. That awareness is just going to go wherever it goes and join up in the oneness again. That's what you are. Just remember. Oh, and if you forget, cut yourself some slack. If you're not doing what you want the way you want to do it, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, where you want to do it, Cut yourself some slack. This always needs certainty and a knowing. This already knows. This needs all the answers. This doesn't care. This is just floating along being one. Simple, not easy, but frightfully simple. So go be you. Thanks. Can I just pray?
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Thank you, practitioners. And anyone else who wants to surround the room with their energy? Let's just take that in. As Brian said, let's just be us. Let's touch base with that space, the eye of the heart-gut connection. Just feel that space. Breathe into it and just let the brain do what it does. Knowing the truth of who we are and whose we are and what it is that we are here expressing. We give thanks for this reminder, the energy of Brian that just comes to us with joy, openness, acceptance, and different ways to look at how it is when we might release our judgment and just open more fully to the oneness that we are with all beings around us and in this world and in the universe. So I give thanks for today, the words that have been spoken, the way they've landed in each one of our hearts, the connection that we already feel and have, and the connections we are walking into throughout the next several days and weeks and years of our experience here on this planet. I give thanks for that deep knowingness that we are walking in oneness with all. And so we just release all these words, allowing them to be and just floating in that abyss, allowing it to be so. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, practitioners.
The song is called You Are the Light, Denise Rossier, and I chose this one today. Part of the words are, you hold all of heaven inside you, no matter what you go through, and if your dream burns down to ashes, rise again. My idea of what I dream has evolved over the years, so now it's not so much about anything out in the world as it is about maintaining that centered place of home, that inner peace, no matter what's going on. So, if my house burns down, if the turkey burns, it's really kind of the same invitation to, return home here. So, yeah. I thought this would be good to send us out into the holidays with this kind of floating around in our minds somewhere to remember. Okay. You change dust into gardens, pieces into peace, tears into fountains, chains into release. You are doubt into action, vision renewed, perfect creation unfolding in you. You hold all of heaven inside you,
No matter what you go through, and if your dreams burn down to ashes, you rise again. You are the light of God, the power of prayer lifted up. Every breath testifies you are the light. You are the light. You are the light. You hold all of heaven inside you. No matter what you go through, and if your dreams burn down to ashes, rise again. You are the light of God, the power of prayer lifted up. Every breath testifies you are the light. You are the light. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. You are the light of God, the power of prayer lifted up. Every breath testifies you are the light. Ooh. Oh, you are the light. You are the light. Dust into gardens, pieces into peace.
I'd say that wrapped up exactly what you were saying. So let's give Brian another round of applause. Also, thank you so much for sharing. I know folks look forward to learning and hearing more from you. Thank you. Well, now is that time that we consider giving back to our center, this beautiful place that we get to come together and be reminded, uplifted in the truth of who we are. We are giving 10% this month, and this is the last Sunday of this month, to Las Esperanzas Weed and Seed Program, which buys coats and shoes for the youth in this area right in here, the part that we're in the neighborhood with. And so we're grateful, and they've already sent me a thank you letter. It's quite long, so I won't read it all to you, but they're very grateful to us for what we've already given them this month, and we have one more week of doing that. So we give thanks, and let's just say our blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And we will sing our song as they come forward.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we are so blessed for that flow of life and love that moves in and through us, and for all of the supply that supports the center, who we are, what we do, the message that we bring into the world, and the shift and change that it makes in each one of us as we come here and listen to these words and remember the truth of who we are. We are blessed, and this is a blessing, and we give thanks. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you all. Remember that there are practitioners to pray with you after the service. We have food after the service and a workshop. We will sing our closing song, which is
Go out and shine.
Go Out and Shine. Perfect.
Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Step out and take a chance. Walk the talk, join the dance. Relax, enjoy the ride. Let kindness be your guide. You gotta go out and shine the light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine the light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. One voice, one hand, one heart. Wanna change, make a start. We're one big family. What's good for you is good for me. Go out and shine the light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine the light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine.
Have a wonderful week.
Oh, maybe she could.
Well done, Mary.